Subscribe now. EU Debates.
Many thanks, Mr. President, dear Volodymyr. Sorry, I took the floor. Is that okay? Yes.
It's okay.
Many thanks for that. Indeed, it is now the third time that I'm here in Kyiv since the beginning of this atrocious war. And I must say it is impressive to see how much has changed to the better here in Kyiv. Life has come back to Kyiv. I saw people in the streets starting their businesses again. You told me how much more the city is lively now and moving forward. I also want to congratulate you to your military success. I know there needs to be consolidation, but still it is spirit, I would say, not only for the Ukrainian people, but for all your friends too. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the order I got today. It humbled me and it honors me, and I want to thank you for that, because I take it in the name of the millions and millions of Europeans that support Ukraine. And I think it is a beautiful symbol of the bond between Ukraine and the European Union. Yesterday, we had the pleasure to host the First Lady in Strasbourg in the European Parliament, and it was touching and heartwarming to see the standing ovation with which she was received, and it was palpable, the warmth and the friendship in the room to honor the First Lady of Ukraine. We have discussed a lot of topics. First of all, I must say the accession process is well on track. It's impressive to see the speed, the determination, the preciseness with which you are progressing. And as you know, we support you wherever we can. I do not have to say to speed up the process, because you are speeding it up. That is very good. In parallel, we have agreed that we need to work as much as possible to make sure that Ukraine has more business, more income, and thus the seamless access to the European single market is possible for Ukraine. We've done a lot already. Indeed, you mentioned the electricity grid. You might recall that at the beginning of this atrocious war, there was still the plan that in 2024, the Ukrainian electricity grid should be connected to the European one. Well, we made it in 2 weeks. This was amazing. And since then, even better, Ukraine is delivering electricity to the European Union. This we want to improve and increase, and thus create steadfast flows of income, for example, for Ukraine. But there are also other topics where we can have this seamless access to the single market. At the moment being, we have 98% of tariffs that are no more on goods. That is good. But there are many non-tariff barriers that we can take away, and where our experts will work on. We have discussed that the roaming should be permanent, and many different items that we can work on, so that we have a deep integration of the Ukrainian economy in the single market. The second big topic, of course, was preparedness for the winter, the short term. And here we have earmarked already 150 million euros to make sure that the internally displaced people here in Ukraine have shelter. And I'm happy to announce that there will be another 100 million to support schools, so that the damages done by the war in those schools can be repaired in a short term. I know that 70 schools immediately need the reconstruction, the repairing work to do. It's 70,000 children that can go to school. So this is an enormous motivation for us also to be as fast as possible, that we make sure that we are prepared for the winter. It's with the children and their education where the future begins, and therefore it is so important. We have been discussing, of course, the budget support, the so-called macro-financial assistance. I'm very glad that today the European Parliament now has voted positively on the 5 billion loans, and we are working on the rest of the macro-financial assistance. The 5 billion can be dispersed in the first tranche mid-October, so there's a clear path that we have discussed together. The work on sanctions is also well on track. It is always important to exchange with our friends in Ukraine the details, because we have to be very careful that there are no loopholes, there are no circumventions, and therefore there was an intense discussion mainly also by our experts on what we can do together. Finally, a topic that is of utmost importance also is the mid and long-term reconstruction. Here we have discussed how we can progress the structure, the platform for the reconstruction, and we're both looking forward to have on the 25th of October in Berlin a reconstruction congress where experts from all over the world will discuss what the best approach is for the reconstruction in an accountable, effective and speedy manner for Ukraine. All in all, intensive discussions on many, many topics, but what I want to say at the very end, dear Volodymyr, we will never be able to match the sacrifice that the Ukrainians are giving when they lose their homes or they cry for their beloved ones that have gone. We will never be able to compensate what you do with your fight for democracy, for humanity, for the respect of the international rule of law. But what we can tell you that you have your European friends by your side as long as it takes, and that we are friends forever. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you so much.